Right, catching up now with Harness Racing New Zealand CEO, Mr. Brad Steele. Hi, Bradley.
Hey, Paul.
Are you a Bradley or a Brad, actually? Let's start with the hard questions.
I'm a simple person, it's Brad.
It is only just a straight Brad.
Don't overcomplicate things. So.
Sometimes you get in trouble if you do it the wrong way, but go from there. One, we're here at Breckon Farms today. Firstly, you must have been wrapped with the parade, with the yearlings, I suppose, as such, and I know you know how to pick a horse, and you've picked horses before. But above all else, just the people that come along here, and not your traditional, if you like, dyed-in-the-wool harness racing people. You had the people turn up. It must have been great for you from your position.
It was, Paul. Yeah, I think, as you said, there's a whole wide variety of people here with different budgets. There's young people, there's people in the middle around about where I am, and people above the middle, and there's people here that I haven't seen before. So I met a lot of new people, and talking to some of the trainers, they've got some orders from customers that they haven't had before, which is what we're really looking for as new owners into harness racing in New Zealand. So, and the numbers of people that turned up here today, the horses. I mean, sitting here as a prospective buyer, I go, wow, I'll have that, and of course, it's not going to happen. But it's just mouth-watering the way the horses were presented. It's
my sixth farm of this parade, so I had a fair idea not to say I'll have that because it's been a problem that you have. It's one of those things I just thought to Phil Cano, but a few of the guys as well going along. The quality of the horses at these parades here, it's just amazing, and it's going to be a rip and sail on the 15th of February for NZB.
It is, Paul, and you can see with the breeders, they've continually upped the standards. It's not just on the horses, but it's on the facilities, the marketing of their horses. So the breeders have really stepped up and elevated their game, and I hope that they get rewarded, because they only get 3 minutes a year is their grand final, basically, to get some money back, so they can reinvest next year. So it's a really important time for them.
You're right, and it is only 3 minutes, but it's the promotion, if you like, pushing the product, getting that product out there as well, that does drive that, and so many of these people. And when I say that, the people, so we can go Woodlands, Alabar, Hollison, Robertson, Tardina, Rogersons, and then Breckons, plus so many other people that are got horses in there. Tate Hopkins has been on one of my shows as well, putting these horses out. Plus the guys down south and Southland as well, SPSR. I'm going to get in trouble if I forget someone, but anyway, that's okay. I can handle that. But they are doing an outstanding job. The one thing that I'm wrapped in, especially being an Aussie, the age demographic, if you like, on these bus tours, and you've got people, and I'm sure Benny will be okay with it because he's my age. That age of trainers are quite, upstanding and all the rest. Bobby Butt's here. They're flat out Regan, Todd, Timmy White. They're the quality of, or the age, if you like, of the people that have been on this bus tour and taking the time, and their professionalism. Put a camera in front of them, do a talk with them, but also their professionalism to the product that they're looking at. It puts the industry in good stead.
It does, Paul, and you've been here a couple of times. This is my first time, but you can see the average age that's coming on the tour has definitely come down. When I look at the trainers that were standing up the other end today watching the horses, I reckon they would have been all under 40, or thereabouts, and there would have been 4 or 5 of them.
There'll be a couple who'll be happy with that.
Yeah, I know. I'm being a bit generous. Maybe there's a bit of GST on top of that, but it's great to see them here and being active. They've got the orders. And I think if you would have seen who's been winning our big races in New Zealand over the last probably 6 or 12 months, there's clearly been a bias to the younger trainers.
Yeah.
And I think that's what changed. Those legacy trainers that have always been good and won races are still winning races. But I think they're even enjoying watching the younger trainer pushing up into their space.
Yeah, and you're spot on, and you sort of see also a bit of a rejuvenation, if you like, because, and hopefully Barry doesn't take offence to this, but Barry, noted champion trainer for so many years, and then along comes Scotty, and it's like, it's this great little show, and they're bringing a couple of young kids through with them as well, and it's gaining so much momentum that they're back as a dead set powerhouse, if you like, in the industry, and it's so good to see.
It is, Paul, and I think, in Barry's case, I think it's put a bit of extra wind into his sails as well. I mean, I've always seen him fairly buoyant, but I think he's even more buoyant
He loves
these days, despite the crook hip. He's pumped. He wants to contribute. He actually likes to see the young people coming up, and Barry, has very high standards, and he wants to see those standards continue to raise within the industry, which is admirable. And the good thing is the young people know that they actually do need to continue to improve as well, and as a result of that, they're attracting new owners.
you and I could wax on for a long time talking. We want to talk next generation because this sale for NZB is on the 15th, Saturday the 15th. We want to make sure people are aware of that for a start. Saturday the 15th of February, and then also down south on the 18th, which is the Tuesday. So we want to make sure that people are aware of both those days. Parade on the North Island on the Friday, 10 o'clock I believe, but just check the Gazette for the catalogue for that one. Next generation, or next gen, has been announced within the last month, 6 weeks maybe, being put out there, and it is gaining momentum. More and more people are aware of it. Those younger trainers that we mentioned there before, third-time stallions getting in it, but also owners and groups of owners, and that's what this is designed to encourage and get the message out there. And again, those people that I'm interviewing, they're aware of it. They know that they're eligible for it. They know who's eligible and what sort of horses are eligible for it as well.
They are, Paul. I think, turning up today, I had some questions from some of the trainers, and what they were trying to find out of Next Gen is what is their point of difference that they can go to market with. So one of the trainers I was talking about today, he's won good races, but he hasn't won a Group 1 race. So I said, basically, if you're a non-Group 1 winning trainer or emerging trainer, as we prefer to call them, you've got the pick of the catalogue. If you've already won a Group 1, maybe you're a bit limited on what you can participate in terms of the stock that's available. But Next Gen doesn't exclude anyone. You just need to understand, how do I participate? But we're definitely trying to encourage the under 40 younger person to get involved. We want to see the emerging trainers get some more, attention, and we also want to reward and encourage people to invest in the first, second, and third year sires that have got yearlings in our sales, because sometimes they're the ones that can struggle a little bit. So,
well, they're not 2-year-olds racing yet, so
No, they're not. And fortunately, we've got some Captain Crunches that have really stepped up lately, and Better's Wish, a couple of those have qualified recently, so great timing. So we want to encourage people to maybe look a bit deeper and maybe invest in a first or a second year or a third year side yearling at the sales.
Can I ask, this is a question I probably should have put it to you before we went to it, but there's a couple of examples. Tate Hopkins, trainer Group 1 winner last year, only a young trainer, a young emerging trainer doing a great job, dabbling his hand at yearling preps and things along those lines as well, and a great advert for the industry. Zev Meredith,
correct,
just before, they're not eligible. Obviously not for this year, but is there the option of potentially tinkering with Next Gen going forward in the future?
Yeah, look, it's the first time we've rolled it out. So with those two young chaps, even though they're Group 1 winning trainers, they can actually still participate.
Yeah, I understand that, yeah.
But they're just not recognised as a Next Gen trainer.
So
it still allows them to buy horses at the sale and participate in the Next Gen bonus.
Yeah.
So, absolutely right, Paul. I mean, this is where we've started the scheme.
Yep.
And we'll sit down once it's over and go through and find out what worked, what didn't work, what do we need to change. So, absolutely, I really see it as an evolving opportunity.
You'll sit down with your major stakeholders, NZB Standardbreds and the TAB. Is it hopefully it's a TAB, I haven't got the name wrong.
TAB,
and HRNZ. So you sit down and, I suppose, butt heads, if you like, or log heads, and just see how it can progress forward.
Yeah, absolutely. Paul, the things I'm looking for is getting new owners into the sport. I want to see greater numbers being nominated for the yearling sales. I want to see the average price of those horses in that sort of bottom to middle start to increase a little bit. So, and I want to hopefully, see even better clearance rates, even though clearance rates in New Zealand are quite strong. So there are some of the key metrics that I'll be looking for, at some stage, just to see, what we need to change. But I think it's always great to sit down with people and work out what worked, what didn't work, and then make the changes.
Yeah, especially something that's just started.
Yeah, exactly right.
You can't say you've got it right straight away.
No, look, there'll always be gaps, and I hope people find them and we can close them. We've tried not to have too many gaps, but we will learn from the first one and we'll make the changes so it gets better.
I've got another one to ask, but just so people are aware, if you buy a horse that is next generation, by a next gen stallion, or if your owners come underneath that criteria, the likes of Zev and Tate, they're still eligible to train those horses, and you get that bonus. I don't want people to think, I don't want people to say, we're not going to give them a horse. No, exactly. They definitely do. Just as the individual trainers, they don't get that bonus.
I have spoken to Zev because he did raise a few good questions with me, so I've made it really clear that, despite the fact it's great he's won a Group 1, he can still absolutely participate.
Can I just say to him, enjoy it, mate, because I've been in this game for a long time, and I got beat a short half head in one, and that's as close as I've got.
Well, he won a Group 3 last week.
Yeah, I know, he's flying. He
likes it.
Yeah, no, he's doing an awesome job, and I think Tate was the same. I don't think he'd been training that long, and he had his in the young guns this year as well. So
isn't it great to see young trainers like that?
Yeah,
maybe small teams that see, well, actually, we actually can win Group 1 races and Group 3s and Group 2s.
Yeah,
actually can do it,
and we should be celebrating it and making sure it's out there. It's just, as I said, just one of those little ones. The one that I do want to commend you on, and I think it's something that I think all jurisdictions need to look at, and it's a very, very simple one. Getting a bonus for having 2 starts. I wonder why the 2 starts, why not maybe 5 starts or something like that. The idea is to keep breeding numbers up.
Yeah.
So was there a reason for just the 2? Like,
I think you've got to start somewhere. So we've already got a 1 win bonus. Basically, if you win a 2-year-old, you get $12,000. So we actually are trying to encourage people to race their horses more often, which is part of the horse utilisation program that we've got underway. And I think it does start with the 2-year-olds. So I guess you've got to start somewhere, and we just arbitrarily thought, well, 2 sounds like a reasonable number. Now, after we sit down and look at the results, it could be that next year it's the 3rd start or the 4th start. But there's other things that we're working on behind the scenes that will probably feed into that, Paul, but we won't know about those probably for another 6 months.
Yep.
So what we've locked in, it may not be 2 starts next year, it might be more, but we thought to make it 2 this year, see how it goes, and then we'll look at it.
I can just see so many positives to it, because it is 2-year-olds going forward. And that's why I was wondering whether if you could push it back to 5, then those field sizes automatically pick up, because people are saying, well, that's our forefront. We don't want people sending horses around just for the sake of it, either just to get that money. We want to put on a good product. So, yeah, we want to make sure we do it that way. But I think it's an awesome concept. I really, that part I do.
It is. And look, I'm pretty confident it will work, Paul. And the good thing we've seen through the numbers coming out this year in New Zealand is that last year, on average, the Kiwi horses raced 9.2 times per year, which I think is pretty modest. Yep. We're now up to 9.7, and I think within the next few months we will average 10 starts a year. So it's heading in the right direction.
Do you have a figure that you would like to get?
Well, I think Australia averaged about 16. So I think we need to get a bit closer to that. And, there's more prize money, there's more races. So we're running an extra 300 races.
It's a major difference, isn't it, when you think about it? 15.
It's huge.
Yeah.
It adds more value to the owners because the horses are racing more often. And, simple things like reducing the number of long-distance races that we're running over as well. We still do have the 2,800 and the 2 miles, but there's probably more mile racing coming to New Zealand. So it does allow, horses to back up a little bit sooner. I know there's an argument that people say, well, there's just as much exertion in a mile race as what there is in a 2-mile race. But
as a trainer, I'd say there's probably more in a mile than there
absolutely.
is.
It's a really good debate, but we're sticking our toe in the water and say, oh, let's race over shorter distance. And let's trial a few things so that we can encourage horses to race more often. And we've seen, the summer circuit in New Zealand in the last, probably month, and I'm sure there's horses that have had 4 starts in 2 weeks.
Oh yeah.
So it can happen.
Yeah, that's definitely right. And I like those summer circuits and the way they work. One of the great things about them is they're not on fast tracks. I think one of the big things we have, especially in Victoria, we have so many great tracks where they run such fast times that's actually what compound some of the issues you have with horses backing up. Whereas with some of those grass tracks especially, it's not concussion, they're not running at high speeds. Still tough on them, but just a different sort of tough on them. So I think people need to be aware of it. They work enormously, and we're not going to go down that track because we will be talking forever. One thing I want to make sure that, especially if the Aussies are watching this as well, any horse that is next gen eligible pay up for the harness millions. It's the first horse home that is next gen eligible is eligible for that $50,000, provided that everything ticks the boxes and likes going through. So the trainer, if it's Zev that trains it, he won't get his trainer's percentage, but there is $50,000 on offer for people that are the first horse home. Now, we don't want this to happen, but they could actually run last. But if you're the only next-gen horse, you're walking home with $50,000.
$50,000, yeah. So $35,000 to the owner, $10,000 to the trainer, and $5,000 to the breeder for coming last. And I think NZB did have a look at retrospectively, well, what would they have looked like last year? And I think they said that maybe the 4th horse home in one of the pacing races would have been next gen eligible, and I think it was the 5th place horse in the Trotters race would have been next gen eligible. So if you look at the results last year, it was 4th and 5th placing. But as you said, as long as you were the first horse home of the next gen eligible horses, where it's last, second last, 50 grand.
Yeah.
Very simple.
Yeah, it's exciting actually, and it's going to make for great racing, and that will be 12 months' time, won't it?
It'll be 12 months' time, Paul.
Which I think this year, correct me if I'm wrong, but that's the Friday night.
It is. It'll be a Friday night race.
The Friday night at Alexandra Park,
yeah,
and then this year the sales the next day. Traditionally, it'll be on the Sunday.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Yeah, and look. We'll obviously make sure that everyone's aware through the marketing of which horses are next gen eligible in the race, and it actually almost creates like a, 2 grand finals in the race. The horse that actually wins it, and which is the best performed next gen horse in the race. So
probably opens up the betting option as well for the TAB.
Yeah, absolutely.
First next gen home horse home, or like I'm not telling them. Dean's got a rough idea what he's doing, so I won't tell him what to do. But there is probably that option of other betting forms within the race, which again, we want to get young people involved. So you think about it, if you've got a group of young guys, they've got a next gen horse, they know they can't beat Merlin, but they think they can beat whatever horse it is that's that next one down. They're going to invest in it. Hopefully,
it's an interesting concept. I think that's a good thing that comes out of innovation, is that you start somewhere and then all of a sudden more people start to think about it, and all of a sudden more ideas come out in terms of how you can make it bigger and better. And there's just a simple example just from our conversation. So I think you can imagine where this might end up in 12 months, 2 years time.
Yeah, and hopefully that. What would you say is 9.6, 9.7 is up around that 13 to 15%. 13 to 15 races a year.
I think we'll get there, Paul. It mightn't happen straight away, but we're heading the right direction. We've gone from 9.2 to 9.7, and I think we're pretty close to getting it to 10 shortly. And I don't think, looking at the stats, that we've hit an average of 10 starts per year in New Zealand for nearly a decade.
Yeah, got to change it.
Yeah,
have to change it.
But
that comes with prize. I mean, that'll change.
But it also comes with the support of the trainers and the owners, Paul. Yep. And I think that's what I'm, so appreciative of. The trainers and the owners have got right behind the concept, and without that, we wouldn't be getting the success that we're getting today and driving the turnover results, double-digit growth that we're getting without the support of the trainers and the owners.
Brad, I could talk to you forever. I am here to promote the NZB sale, as I said, Saturday the 15th and Tuesday the 18th. We want to make sure people are aware of that. North Island, South Island, make sure you get a part of it and go from there. I could talk to you for Zonk. We might try and organise something maybe a bit later on. Well done for Next Gen. Well done for being here. Yes. It's been a great concept and getting out. And I think with your CEO hat on, it was a great move to be here, because that gives people confidence. Probably, some people say, why wasn't he at a mall? Well, it's probably not that easy, but I mean, you were here, everyone was here, so they have that opportunity then, as you said, to sit down and have a talk to you. So I think well done for you for that, and the interview part of trying to get more people investing in this game. It's what we need. Got people like Ken and Karen building a place like this. We need to embrace it and make it bigger and better. Yeah,
absolutely, Paul. And I think we've got great investors in the sport of harness racing, and I think we've got so much opportunity here, and we've got so much positivity that's returning to the code. We're getting a lot of support, and we're not finished with the innovation yet. We're still working on a few new concepts. I think it's an exciting time for harness racing in New Zealand, and I think there'll be some, I'm sure there's going to be some new announcements in the next 6 months, which the industry will welcome as well.
Brad, thank you. Do we see it at the sales?
Yeah, absolutely. No, I'll be at both sales, and
do we see this happening, or?
Well, if my wife's there, yes, she'll be ordering a drink, like she did recently. But I'll be at both sales, and look, you never know, I might put my hand up as well, because I love the next gen concept, and I'd love to put a few people together and support it. And whilst I've got a few horses back in Australia, I'd be keen to have a couple here in New Zealand as well.
Could be a bit of fun too, because there's a little time slot there with a couple of horses that can go through. It could be a nice little time to be sitting in the auditorium and seeing some big players have a bit of a crack, because there's a couple of exciting horses that I have seen. So
I think we've seen a couple here today, Paul, and I think the top end's going to be as strong as it always has been, and my intuition tells me the middle and down a bit lower is probably going to be a little bit better as well, and you never can tell, but I'm feeling a bit optimistic about it.
No. Brad, thank you. Good to talk Aussie with someone too. It's always better.
Exactly.
There
right.
was no wheeze or anything along those lines.
No, that's exactly right.
It's
Yes,
all
exactly
good.
right.
Mate, thank you.
All right, all the best, Paul. Thanks for coming over.